are in, but thank you all for joining this evening, and we appreciate you tuning in to learn a little bit more about studying the arts at Providence College. My name is Diana Gingles. I am one of the Associate Deans of Admission, and we're certainly excited, and we wish you major congratulations to all of the different members of the class of 2025, and for everyone who's interested in learning a bit more about what it means to study the arts at Providence College. Certainly within the different departments within the fine arts on campus, we have Wendy Oliver from our Department of Theater, Dance, and Film, who will be able to explain a little bit about some of the different opportunities within the Smith Center for the Arts, and what it means to be a student within the performing arts at Providence. And I can also supplement some information about our studio art departments, both art and art history, and some of the different elements to what it means to be a student on campus, and how some of those different courses will interplay with your core curriculum, with even if you're not a declared major or minor within the arts, how you can still participate and be involved. And then after about the first 15 minutes of this discussion, we're going to open it up to some of our current student and alumni panelists who will be able to share their perspectives about what it meant to study within the fine arts at Providence, and give you some different ideas for what to expect during your time as a student on our campus. So with that, Wendy, I will turn it over to you just to give your perspectives on and what it means to be at Providence.
If people have questions, can they put them in the Q&A?
Yes. So throughout this session, actually, the Q&A is the best resource to type in those questions. I did forget to mention that. So by all means, make sure you're typing in those questions. We will take different breaks throughout the session to answer those different questions, both during the faculty portion and then also during the student and alumni portion.
So will you let me know if a question comes up?
Yes, and I'll be monitoring that Q&A.
Okay, great, thanks.
Sure.
So I'm Dr. Wendy Oliver. I'm the chair of theater, dance, and film, and my discipline is dance. So I teach dance courses here, and I'm also in charge of overseeing what is going on in theater and film as well. We have a theater major here at PC, and we also have a musical theater track. So if you're interested in theater, you can study and take our traditional track, or you can take the musical theater track. We also have a dance minor and a film minor and a theater minor, so you can study any of those things alongside of a major. The great thing about a minor in the arts is that it's typically only 6 or 7 courses, so it blends well with almost anything. And even if you're a business major or some other major that's very credit heavy, there is still always time to do a minor in the arts. So that's something that I strongly encourage. Even if you're not minoring or majoring in the arts, there are lots of opportunities. In theater, dance, and film, we have auditions for everybody on campus for our productions, and those are plays, musicals. We have a dance company. We have there are some clubs that involve dance or film that you can participate in, so there are really a lot of opportunities to do things. In addition, we have many courses that are available for people who are at all levels of the arts. If you're interested in doing something like learning dance, learning a musical instrument, or learning how to act, we have courses for that at different levels. But we also have courses where you're going to be reading and writing about the arts rather than doing them, or in addition to doing them, I should say. So those are other opportunities that you can have. I like the fact in our department that we have 3 different disciplines. So you can be a theater person, but get to know people in film and maybe work, act in some of their films. If you're a dancer, you might be able to work in theater and choreograph. Right now we have a student who is choreographing the musical, which is Violet, and she is choreographing the musical, and she's also choreographing for the dance company. So she's able to do two different kinds of things. And she's interested in becoming a Broadway choreographer. So she's getting some practice for that, which is great. And we have filmmakers who are doing all kinds of projects. And at the end of the semester, we have a film festival that's a contest, and there are people who come, filmmakers who come and judge the student contributions, and we show all of them, and then there are awards given. And usually the person who wins gets to present their film in a festival in Providence after. So that's a nice opportunity as well. If I would be happy to talk about the theater major or any of the minors if I know if people out there are interested in them. So maybe that would be a good thing to find out if people are interested in particular majors or minors, then I would talk about them. I'll talk a little more about the extracurriculars. So we have, as I mentioned, a dance company, and that is by audition. So people can audition in the fall of their first year here. And the dance company is typically about 25 people. And the main styles that we work in are jazz and modern dance, although we certainly study ballet as well, and some tap. So the fall of the year, we work with guest choreographers, and the guests get to work with, all the students get to work with a guest at some point. And then in the spring semester, all of the students get to choreograph the performance. So that's a great opportunity for them to develop creative and leadership skills. Another extracurricular activity is the Creative Writing Festival. Okay, let me see the chat.
I can read that off to you too, but you were mentioning the Creative Writing Festival.
Right. So the Creative Writing Festival is a playwriting endeavor where anybody who wants to from campus can write a short script, and then actors and writers get together and they decide where they're going to do the performance of the short script, and then who's going to act in what play. And it all gets put together with the help of Dave Rabineau, who is one of our adjunct instructors, who's both a playwright and an actor professionally in Providence, and he puts the whole thing together. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and one of the questions that came through the chat was just asking about how students studying the arts at PC interact and get involved in the city of Providence. So that definitely ties in. And I know that a lot of questions too come up about interactions that students have at the Providence Performing Arts Center and Trinity Rep, local venues in Providence. How involved do our students get in different capacities within those two venues?
Well, since COVID, nothing's been open, as you can imagine. So we've been doing a lot of things online, but once the COVID restrictions are lifted, we will be sending students to see shows in the area. So any student who joins a theater appreciation class or an acting class or almost any other theater class will be going to see plays. And some of those plays will be on campus, and some of them will be at Trinity Rep or the GAM Theater or other places. The students usually have a choice of opportunities of what to see and so forth. So there's a lot of choice available, and it depends a little bit on what's being offered at each theater. But we do, especially for the majors and the minors, we do recommend certain things that people can go see. And it's easy to get to these opportunities by public transportation or carpooling. So
Great. Yeah, and I know with a lot of our studio art majors, for instance, taking advantage of the gallery nights in Providence is also a fun aspect. So and obviously with COVID, it's a bit different, but in normal years, a gallery night in Providence usually is about the third Thursday of every month throughout the spring, fall, and summer. And it allows students to travel to all of the different galleries in Providence. They open their doors. It's open to the public, and one of actually the two galleries that we have on our campus are also included in that. So a lot of students, when they are certainly hoping to showcase their work for their senior art show, their work, they want to be able to obviously have that gallery night presentation. That's always a viable spot for students. Seniors are always vying for that gallery night. So I would say that there's definitely a lot of interaction because the city of Providence is known as a Renaissance city, an art city. There's definitely an interplay and interaction between our campus and then the greater city. And I know that with gallery nights, they have also in the past provided some transportation, some different shuttles as well that are part of the gallery night tour, I guess. Right. Absolutely.
Right. And the same is true for dance. There are a lot of great dance performances that happen in Providence throughout the year, and they can be seen downtown at the Vets Memorial usually, or sometimes at Rhode Island College or at Brown University. And all of these venues are, open to the public. So it's just a matter of knowing where they are, getting your ticket and getting over there.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we do have our different students and alumni who will be joining. So you'll see some different panelists popping up, but feel free to continue submitting your different questions. And one question too, Wendy, that I know comes up is certainly with a student who is an arts major. Can you give a quick overview too of how studying the arts at Providence may interplay with the core curriculum that all students are part of, and if most of their classes will just be with students within their particular major or cohort, or if they will have students from all different majors as well within some of those courses.
Well, at PC, there's a lot of intermingling because of the common core curriculum. So everyone has to take development of Western civilization. And so you're going to meet all kinds of people through that. And I think that in our arts courses, it really depends on the course, who you're going to run into. So you may run into, hi, Allie, hi, Alex. You're going to run into a great variety of people in the lower level courses, but in the higher level courses, it will probably be mostly majors and minors in each field.
Great, thank you. And we have quite a mixture here of students and alumni who are joining us tonight. And for each of you joining, if you just want to type in your first name and maybe your class year and then your particular major right within the...
Or minor.
Or minor, that's right. Absolutely. And one other question too, that we tend to see a lot of students asking, what are some of the more particular clubs or organizations that may have faculty mentorship? So different faculty advisors that students are involved within.
Is this for us to answer? I'm
Oh,
sorry.
actually, I was wondering if Wendy wanted to answer that, but we can open it up to discussion.
Yeah, oh, I thought it was for the students.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Feel free, anyone can jump in at this point.
Well, one club that me and a few of my friends just started is a fashion society. So we're kind of in the works of, going through the process of, creating a new club, but that is, a really fun kind of art involved club that is, up and coming and coming soon. So that's one thing I'm involved in.
Great. Oh, thank you all. And we have representation here from theater, music, dance, and as well as studio art. So I do applaud you all for joining us tonight. And another thing that I think is so helpful about Providence is the fact that our students have that chance to, again, explore so many disciplines, but really find their passion and interest. Many of you are double majors or major and a minor. And if you can share your perspective on what it meant to you to combine those different interests and how that really worked out within the curriculum itself. A lot of students are always wondering, how does this really interplay with my coursework and with my my particular interests within the fine arts?
I can speak to that. I have a bachelor's of science in biology and a bachelor's of arts in theater. So when you think about literally the two ends of campus meeting in one person's double major, that's me. I spent a lot of time hightailing it from Smith up to AlMag and back. But the one thing that I will say is with the core curriculum, I do feel like there is a really wonderful overlap in different courses that are involved in both majors as well as count for core classes. So for me, one of my biggest questions coming into PC was, how can I fit all of this in 4 years? I don't want to have more than 4 years of college to pay for and also to experience. And so both of my advisors, David Cabral in theater and Dr. Toth up in biology, were fantastic about working together to make sure that I would fit all of the classes that I needed to fit within the 4 years for my degrees. And it was just really great. And working with the dean's office and working with the different departments, everyone was super wonderful and able to help me make my dreams of my really special double major happen.
Okay.
Sorry, yes, to jump off of what you were saying, Allie, about the support that you received from both departments, when you said that, I completely resonated with it and just like had to jump on board. I was in a very similar position, being a music and a psychology double major in the Smith to AlMag trip. I am with you on that completely. But I started my journey at PC as an undeclared major for about 3 semesters, but I really had this dream of combining both, and I really wanted to know if it was doable. And I cannot thank the underlying support at PC from all of my advisors and mentors enough for helping me make that dream a reality. So I'm in complete agreement with you on that for sure.
Great. Terrific. And actually, Allie, Ariana, and Will, would you, since you are our 3 alumni who have joined, would you mind giving us just some insight into kind of your path after PC and what you have been able to do and to continue within the arts since Providence. Will, if you want to start off, you're more than welcome to. We haven't heard from you yet.
Sure, no worries. Thanks for inviting me, and it's nice to meet and connect with everyone. What I also wanted to mention for, just real quick for the previous question was that for me, it was a very small art department. And so I felt like I really had that one-on-one support with every faculty and the chair of the department. And so when we really each semester or each year talked about coursework and class load, it was so catered and so specific to my needs and what I wanted to do as well. And I think that was like pretty unique factor for PC. Post PC, I eventually went back to school to get my MFA at Pratt Institute in Brooklyn in painting. So I moved to Brooklyn then, and since then I found myself in various galleries and kind of curatorial roles. And so now I still maintain a pretty robust studio practice, and I'm still consistently showing my work. I have a few upcoming shows, both in the city and kind of in the area. And I also work full-time at an art nonprofit called the Wasaic Project, which is 2 hours north of the city in Dutchess County, New York. So for me, I think actually having a pretty well-rounded education and kind of, doing all of my interests and expressing those at PC has really kind of, gravitated towards still kind of pursuing most of the interests that I still want to do through the visual art practice as well as an arts admin experience.
Absolutely. Ariana or Allie?
Oh, I forgot I was on mute. Sure, I can go next. So I graduated in class of 2019, and upon graduation, I decided to move to Orlando, and I accepted a contract to be a performer at Walt Disney World in Orlando. So I have been here ever since. Currently, I am a performer throughout the Orlando area and teaching online. So I think having the ability to combine both my majors, I think like thinking about the biggest takeaway, leaving PC and being able to pursue this opportunity is learning how to be a professional performer, professional worker. Also being like, I think one of the biggest things about PC is how personable and kind everyone is. Often phrases you'll hear in the community are Friar family and community, and really being there to support one another, like just like how your advisors and your faculty and staff all support you. You learn how to become that kind of person. And I think like being as an artist, I think being a personable performer and a professional one are so important. And I was able to carry that with me onto my next step as a working in the industry in Orlando. So that's something I've been truly, truly grateful for. And I think having the ability to combine both my majors too really prepared me to take that next step with all I've been able to do. So very thankful for that.
Absolutely.
So I, like Will, also went back to school after graduating from PC and got my MFA from Columbia in New York in stage management. And I've been really, really fortunate in my career path. I was at Rock of Ages off Broadway in Midtown when the COVID-19 pandemic shifted the theater industry in our long-term intermission that we're in currently. But I was really fortunate in the times previous to that to work on some Broadway developmentals, to work at the Public, to work at Shakespeare in the Park. And I will say, to the point that Ariana was just making about how personable PC students really are, we joke around a lot about how everyone at PC holds the door for everyone else, right? And how you're always going to see students smiling on campus. And I think that is something that really has helped me in my career, because when you work in the arts, the hours that you're going to work are insane. And, at the end of the day, the teams want to work with someone that they're going to want to go and, grab a late night snack with or hang out with after they get off of work. And being a personable artist and a personable performer really helps with that.
Absolutely. And for for our two current students, Maggie and Alex, if you want to mention, how that transition was to PC in terms of what brought you to declare your particular major and minor, and how you felt supported by different faculty members, or any faculty members that really assisted you with declaring, or certainly you've seen as different mentors within your programs.
I can speak towards that, sure. So I am a dance minor, and I actually transferred to Providence College as a sophomore. So transferring was a difficult process just because I really had to learn how to push myself to be more social and put myself out there a lot more. And joining the Providence College Dance Company was where I met my first group of friends. I made my first family on campus, and it was certainly probably what made me feel like PC was my home the first out of all the clubs that I was involved with. And Dr. Oliver is the director of that, and she's also my advisor for my dance minor. So she's certainly been a faculty member that has supported me through this all. But just speaking towards my experience with the dance company and the dance minor, it has been a place where I've been able to find a passion for dance once more. I didn't think coming into college I would be able to get to continue dancing. That was something I just written off. And coming to PC, when I found out that we had a dance minor, I was over the moon. I was so excited. I was like, this has to happen. Like, I'm doing this. I've never regretted it since. I think some of my closest friends are a part of this program or a part of the company. So it's something I would encourage anyone, if you're interested in major or minors in the arts, you won't regret it. It's been an amazing experience for me.
Yeah, my transition was it was kind of a chaotic one because I really had no clue what I wanted to major in coming into school. So I had just picked psychology because it was something that interested me in high school. And once I got here, my second semester freshman year, I took an art class. And art has been something that I've been super passionate about, but I've always kind of looked at it as a hobby. But as I, was in that freshman year class, I started to think, this is something I love. Like, why wouldn't I do something I love every day and study it and know that's something I'm going to get excited about? So I talked to the chair, Heather, who is just absolutely amazing. And she's so supportive. And I feel like I could talk to her about anything, not even just art, but she, talked to me and we talked about potential careers. And she kind of was like, have you heard about the marketing minor, which is specifically for non-business majors, which I thought was kind of interesting. So I was like, let me look into that. That's a new thing on campus. So once I looked into that, I was like, this is just the perfect fit for me. I picked up an art history minor because it's only 4 more classes to minor in it, because as art majors we have to take 2 art history classes anyway. So I almost feel like this just was the perfect mold for me, and I couldn't be happier with it.
Awesome. And for all of you, can you speak to some of the different things that have really stood out to you as you've as years have gone on? What have you felt has been the most important thing you've learned throughout those particular courses that really is propelling you forward for our alums? What was it that really was the defining moment that propelled you forward after graduation? For our students, Maggie, you kind of hit it right on the head with with how you really felt at home with the particular major. But for the rest of you, what was the one factor that really made you realize this was the right fit for me academically?
I'll speak first. I feel like there's this awkward pause of who's going to talk. For me, when I was looking for a college to go to, I was coming from a high school in New Jersey, and it had a huge, really family feel to it. We did a ton of service in high school. We had a large following for all of our sports teams. And there was a real sense of community. And when I came to visit PC, that is what I found. But on the flip side, the academic side, I was also really looking for a place to challenge me. I was one of those students in leading up to college that was always in the honors program, you know, really liked to challenge myself academically, but also really wanted an environment that felt supportive and where I could explore a lot of different paths, because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do when I quote unquote grew up. Hence the biology and theater double major. And so when I was looking at schools, I was looking for a really challenging academic environment that had the support system to allow me to explore all of those different options. And so for PC, the bio department truly is what caught my interest. And then first week of orientation, one of my OLs was in the theater department and was like, hey, I really think you should come check out the Smith Center. And that's how I fell into theater in college. And that has been such a transformative moment for me, because through my theater studies, I have the career that I currently have. And I mean, I don't think many people can say that they worked at a Broadway show for, you know, 3 months as an internship and have that be part of their early career. And for me, that is part of my story. And that's because of that moment, first week on campus during orientation, and because of my orientation leader. And so finding that academic home and that community home here at PC was really, really shaping for my entire rest of my life. As cheesy as that sounds, it's very true.
Yes, I definitely agree. I had a very similar experience as you, Allie, like coming to tour and look at PC. I was really, I came from a high school that really had a arts department that really felt like a strong community. And I knew I wanted that to be a part of my college career in some capacity, but I just didn't know how much I wanted it to be a part of my life just yet. So when I came to PC, I immediately, same exact thing, felt so at home. I felt so welcomed. I vividly remember seeing so many people saying hi to one another on campus and saying hi to our tour group, and just already feeling like I was a student there before I even enrolled. So, and I just remember feeling such a warm home feeling. And then I remember when I came here freshman year, I joined the PC choirs and a variety of other music ensembles. And I immediately felt that same home connection that I felt when I was in high school. And then just decided that I needed to make music and vocal performance a part of my life, but I still, what drew me to the psychology major was I love helping others and serving others. So, and also on the academic side, same thing, I really didn't know what I wanted to do yet in high school, but I remember I loved taking classes in one of everything. I always took classes all 4 years of high school in a math, science, history, English. I just loved learning about everything all at once. And I knew when I came to PC, I could continue to do that. I could continue to explore other classes and take things that aren't in my major, but I'm still interested in, just because I love to learn and it's important to me to have this like worldly knowledge of all different kinds of subjects. And then I think just being able to double major was just like the icing on the cake for me, because I learned going into working in my future career, I learned like I love to perform because I love to serve others and I love to help people. So that's how I kind of combined my major, and I was very fortunate to be able to work in a place where I can do that and make people happy and serve others. So it was just like it couldn't have aligned more perfectly, and PC is really what helped me realize that mission for myself. I think I knew all these like things and my interests, but PC is what really helped me solidify them and realize the why and the purpose, if that makes sense.
I think I mentioned, earlier about that small class size and that kind of individual experience. And for me, focusing on the arts at PC, particularly painting and drawing, I really had such an intimate, experience, and like I became friends with my professors. And for me, like those are some of the defining moments that really kind of shaped my methodology, like how I approach work, how I was even conceptually like thinking about a painting and drawing practice, is because like my largest like drawing class was maybe like 7 people, and I know I've graduated a little bit ago, so class sizes might have shifted, but I remember it was a pretty intimate department. And so, yeah, I think that was like pretty invaluable, that there are, of course, broad and like large concerns of, your individual practice and skills and techniques, but then very individual feedback about your pursuits and your interests, and where do you want to go, and where do you want to like take your work, forward in the world. And for me, that macro and that balance between the back and forth really kind of helped shaped carving out what a studio practice and what a professional practice of your own individual work actually looks like.
Yeah, going off of that, I definitely agree with you, Will. I think one of the most impactful things about the dance minor for me has been the class environments that I've been in so often for my courses. And whether it's been that the classroom size itself has been really small. And I personally enjoy that. I'm the type of student that I get a little intimidated in a larger class setting. I'm not as likely to speak out or participate as much. And so those smaller settings on an individual level have really helped me just become more comfortable when it comes to public speaking and participating. But also I think you'll find a lot, and I'm sure other people would agree from their different majors as well, but within the arts, you'll find that the environment itself that we're in, whether it's in a studio space or we have a different setup for the classroom than we might typically have, that also makes a big impact in that physical space that we're in, whether it's I'll be in the studio for a class and we have all the windows are open and the sun is coming in, and it's just such an amazing way to set the space going into a class. And that's something that I've always looked forward to, is I know that I'm going to talk during this class, that I'm going to participate and have real conversations. And it's been amazing. So I'm a sociology and women and gender studies double major as well. And so it's amazing how all three of my majors and minor have cross-sected so beautifully. All these conversations, I'll be like, I was talking about that in this class, now I'm talking about it in this class, and definitely makes homework easier when I know a little bit more about what is going on. But I love how just everything intersects so well with my dance minor. So that's been great for me too.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with like everything everyone said. Like, I feel like I have little pieces too, like Ariana said. Like, I love to learn too. So being in a liberal arts college, like, I love the mixture of the different classes. And like Alex said, especially being an art history minor, art history is really cool because it's kind of a visual. I almost look at it like a bedtime story to me. Like, it's a visual aspect of history, and it all just connects and makes sense so much for different classes. And Will, I can attest to the class sizes are still small. Sorry, am I cutting out? My Wi-Fi has been a little wacky. I'm good. Okay. Well, the class sizes are still small, and it is so intimate and so personal, and it's just amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And kind of along those lines, there was a question that came in from the chat asking if any of you have been involved in research on campus or the arts for an independent study. I know some of you have had research experience, whether it be on campus or off campus, but I think one or two of you have also done some type of independent study as well. If you want to explain.
I will jump in first again.
Go for it.
I did an independent study in lighting design while I was at PC, and actually took a class with a lighting designer named Tim Cryan, who lives in New York and designs there. He's also designed at PC for a bunch of our main stage shows. And that was really special because actually two of my classmates found out I was doing this independent study, and they were like, oh, we want to take that. And it ended up being an independent study with three of us, talking with Tim every week about lighting design and the way to approach the idea of what it means to light a play or a musical, and how you can use light to help impact mood and tone and all of those things. And, you know, being able to meet in such a tiny class size, I know Will and Maggie have talked a little bit about that, but something that I think is so important about PC is that Sure, you're going to have your civ class, and even that isn't all that big because you also have your seminars. But particularly when you're looking at classes within the departments that are within the arts, your class sizes are so tiny and so intimate, and it really allows for that experience of becoming really close with your professors, really close with your classmates, and those connections continue to pay off post-graduation. We haven't really talked about it in any of the questions that we've tackled yet, but alumni networking and networking with faculty and their connections is huge for Providence College students, and is something that I have benefited from directly in my career. And so that's just something else that I wanted to point out in connection to research and, you know, the connections that it brings on post-graduation.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Allie. Absolutely. And anyone else? Great. Well, and certainly too, as we wrap this up, we do want to thank you. I think one of the things that is so evident about studying the arts at Providence is realizing the personal environment that you all can be involved with, and really be able to take ownership not only of your curriculum but your interests, and really continue to develop those different passions, and certainly feel supported within that. So. We all appreciate having you joining us tonight, and I know our students who are able to watch this and learn more about studying the arts at Providence really appreciate your insight and your words of wisdom. So thank you again, and have a good evening, everyone. We appreciate your time here. And for any other follow-up questions, if there is a question from one of our students for one of our panelists, or somebody from our admission office or faculty, by all means, feel free to be in touch with our office. Your individual admission counselor will be able to connect you either with one of our panelists, or certainly with somebody on campus as well. So thank you again, and have a good evening, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.